We're live.
All right. Hey, Teddy Collins here with Spartan Defense. Coming with you a special edition. We've got some special guests here to talk about the upcoming semi-automatic ban bill that they're going to hear tomorrow in the Senate subcommittee. I've got with us Ian Escalante, director of the Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Association. I've got Alicia Garcia, known as the Boomstickbabe, and I've got Kyle Rittenhouse. If you don't know who Kyle is, you've been sleeping under a rock. So we're just going to talk a little bit about this bill, talk about the implications it has, as well as hope to get some of you guys out to stand in solidarity with us and fight against this and testify tomorrow. So Ian, why don't you take it from the top and give the people watching here a little bit of information about what this bill actually does and what it actually means for Colorado.
Absolutely. So this is just for those of you who've been following the assault weapons ban life throughout Colorado. This is a bill that has been pushed since 2023 when the Democrats took a supermajority in the House. This is the third rendition of the assault weapons ban that we've seen. Last year, I know many of you watching and everyone on this call was very involved in the fight to defeat the 2024 assault weapons ban, which was very, very bad. However, this year, after the Democrats lost their supermajority in the House, and then they also failed to take their supermajority in the Senate, they realized that if they're going to pass this bill, they can't pass it and call it an assault weapons ban because people don't like that. People don't like the idea of the government banning their guns that are in everyday use. So what they've been trying to do is they've been trying to repackage this as a enforcement mechanism, I say that in quotes, enforcement mechanism of the 2013 magazine ban. And the way they say they want to enforce it is they're just going to ban practically all semi-automatic firearms that take detachable magazines. And you're talking about banning all AR platform rifles. You're talking about banning all AR platform pistols. You're talking about banning any semi-automatic rifle that can even accept a detachable magazine or could be readily converted to accept a detachable magazine. And then you're getting down into semi-automatic shotguns with detachable magazines. And the most egregious part of the bill is the way it's worded is it is written to ban pretty much all handguns in common use.
Yeah, I was looking through the definition of what they considered a gas-operated pistol, and it can be left up to interpretation to almost include any handgun that takes a detachable magazine. So the majority of pistols, including they even include hybrid gas systems here. So even a Glock 19, for example, one of the most common self-defense guns carried and used, could be considered banned under this bill. This would be the most strictest gun control in the entire United States if passed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And a lot of people at home, I think, are sitting there thinking, well, what does this have to do with me? I don't live in Colorado. Guys, I want to be clear. This is a springboard. This is a way for them to see if they can do this in Colorado, they're coming to your state soon. This will be an example of legislation that they can do in almost any state out there, especially if that state has a simple majority to the left or to the anti-gun in that state house or that state senate. So, as one state falls, and I keep hearing the argument, well, I moved out of Colorado, I don't live there anymore, or I don't live in Colorado. Guys, again, eventually there's going to be no states to go to. This is 100%.
Well, Teddy, I live down here in Florida, and I'm here on this podcast because what happens in Colorado can happen pretty much anywhere. We've seen people in other states use Colorado legislation to get their own gun control nonsense passed in other states.
100%. And Kyle, I mean, you've been a victim of rogue DAs, and you've seen what all this stuff can do to a person's life or livelihood. It's insane, and it just. The Second Amendment is very clear, shall not be infringed. It's very, very clear. The right to bear arms is there. But for some reason, they treat it as a privilege versus a right. And when it comes down to it, this is a civil right. Sorry, Kyle, we didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going, man. What you do is awesome. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I mean, this goes down to affecting every single one of the constituents in Colorado. What is it, Ian? Close to half of Colorado owns firearms. I don't know the exact number, but that would pretty much make a great majority of Coloradoans felons overnight. That implements your neighbors, your friends, your family, and puts them at risk of going to prison if this bill's passed. And Teddy, this is your livelihood we're talking about. If this gets passed, you can no longer run a Spartan Defense.
At least not in this state, but yes, I mean, it'll make it very tough to operate. You know, we employ here at Spartan Defense close to 27 people, including contractors. We're a mom and pops. You know, we're a brick and mortar mom and pops, family owned. We're definitely not small on any scale. We're not huge as some of the big box stores either. But you know, that's a lot of people that could be affected by this. And it's sad. It's sad to see this. And over the last few years, what we've been seeing in Colorado is they're increasingly trying to work around the current definitions that the Supreme Courts and the courts have imposed, or that the courts have stated on how they feel about some of these laws, by going after the stores and the sale versus just the possession, which is what they're trying to do with this bill as well. Is they're trying to go after the sale, and they think that that's a workaround to the Constitution, but it's not, because they're creating a barrier to entry to your constitutional rights. Alicia, you've seen this. You've been way more active than I have in this. In fact, we met at the Capitol last year, fighting against the previous form of the assault weapons bill. So, I mean, what are you seeing about this, and what are you hearing from the legislative members that you've spoken to and the people that you've talked to about this?
So, what I really want the public to understand is this isn't about Democrat versus Republican. This is about the rights of the people versus the state. It really is. And they're also gaslighting the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They're telling the Democratic Party, and keep in mind, this bill wasn't written by your senators. This bill was written by your gun control advocacy groups like Everytown and all of these god-awful groups that have billions and billions of dollars that make their go around with spending money to rob the people of their gun rights. So they wrote this bill, and these senators that believe that they're doing the greater good are passing along, and they're endorsing it because in their mind they're being sold the bill as if it's a mag enforcement bill. Now,
yeah, I remember one person took their name off as sponsor, right? I don't know if you can talk a little bit about that, but I know that there was one senator that took his name off the bill as sponsor because he found out it wasn't just a mag capacity ban.
this is not a mag capacity ban. This is a ban on all semi-automatic magazine-fed firearms. It's also a ban on binary triggers, forced reset triggers, things that make you a better shooter. So what comes down to this is that this is affecting safety. Let's think about it. And what does every gun that you get in the United States come with? A gun lock. And what type of gun lock does that come with? A magazine-fed gun lock. So now they wanted everybody to have the safe storage and have this ability to secure firearms. How are we going to safely secure firearms if we're not even allowed to have magazine stored firearms? And now the guns that we have are no longer applicable. Okay, there's no way that the guns that you're going to allow us to have, which of course I don't agree with that terminology, but let's just go with this here. They're not allowing us to have these guns. Now we're going to have to work with guns that are known to be less effective. The reason we carry and we use magazine-fed firearms in the first place is for effectiveness. So,
I will say personally, a magazine-fed firearm saved my life.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is do you think you could have efficiently defended yourself with a revolver or a lever gun in that situation?
With that Henry.
No, I mean, I had the best tools available to defend myself.
You did.
But this goes down to
you did, or else you might not be here tonight with us talking about this and supporting our Second Amendment rights like you do. By the way, guys, for those of you who don't know, Kyle is extremely involved in 2A. He has been fighting for your rights all over the country. This man deserves a round of applause, and we really do appreciate what you do, Kyle. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teddy. Right now, Ian's the one leading the charge in Colorado. He's responsible for the defeating the assault weapons ban last session, and I know he's going to defeat it again this year. We just need people to go over there and support Rocky Mountain gun owners. And at the end of the day, what this assault weapon ban really does is it disarms law-abiding citizens, because criminals are not going to follow the law. It disarms you to protect you and your family when you have some methed-out crackhead breaking into your house at 3 a.m.
Right.
wanting to rob you, when what you should be able to do is defend yourself and stop people from breaking in your house. They're disarming law-abiding citizens, and it frustrates me.
Yeah, these guys are under the Hollywood impression that it just takes one round to put somebody down. It doesn't. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Drugs are a hell of a drug. And in most cases, it takes the entire magazine to put someone down, especially if they have God forbid, they have an edged weapon and they're charging you or something of that nature. I mean,
or they're tripped out on fentanyl.
Yeah, they don't understand self-defense.
Colorado.
They're under the Joe Biden fire shot in the air with your over-under shotgun, and you have 1 round left that's going to get the job done. That's not.
Teddy, didn't you hear? Just shoot him in the knee.
That's what I hear. Kneecap him. That's what good old Biden said. Thank God we don't have to bother. We don't have to deal with him anymore. But moving on past that, guys. I do want to kind of also let you guys know what's going to be going on tomorrow, Tuesday, at the Capitol building. For those of you who live in Colorado Springs, we will be doing a caravan that will be leaving the Chapel Hills Mall, Dick's Sporting Goods parking lot. We decided on Dick's because they're a little anti-gun, and we thought it'd be fun. So we're going to be leaving from the Dick's Sporting Goods parking lot in Chapel Hills Mall at 9 a.m. We're having a meetup with multiple FFLs. Melissa with Dragon Man is going to be there. I've talked to DCF Guns. They will be there. SDS Guns with Justin's going to be there. Tammy from Springs Armory is going to be sending some of her staff as well. We're taking a convoy with as many people as possible down to the Capitol to not only hold a rally at 11 a.m. on the East Lawn. 11 a.m. right, Ian, is what we're doing?
11 a.m. Yep.
11 a.m. on the East Lawn, not the west with the stairs, but the east side. The west was taken, unfortunately, so we had to move it over to the east, near where the Indian Native American statues are. And we will be holding a rally there before the committee commences at 2 p.m., where they will hear public testimony. Guys and gals, whether you live in the state of Colorado or not, you can sign up to testify even remotely, and we need your help to do so. We want to have as so many people that are on our side on this versus on the side of gun control to outnumber them 10-1. And we need you to show up, which is more important because they're going to be hearing public in-person testimony first. But we also need those of you who can't make it, even out of state, those of you who, especially veterans, since the one person on this committee that's going to decide the fate of this bill is a former Army Ranger who likes to talk about his combat service and the things that he did when he was in the service, which if he did, that's great. But we need you guys, you veterans, to show up. We need you to testify. We need to see if we can change this person's mind so that they understand exactly what this bill is, and it's an affront to the oath that they took when they decided to protect this country. Please be there.
I'd like to talk about what people need to do tomorrow to be prepared for what's going on, because this is
let's do it.
Day. So I want you guys to book your parking. You can go to an app called Spot Hero. You can find parking within the area that you pay to park and leave your vehicle there all day. If you pay at a meter, you're going to get a ticket. That's just the way it is. They love to, if your car gets stolen, they're not going to send a police officer. But if you park, that's better. So book a parking spot where you're booked for the day. Bring food, bring snacks. We will have a time between when the rally ends and we're going to head into the Capitol, but there are going to be a lot of people there. So make sure you have enough power for your cell phones. That way you can stay in touch with your families. Correct. Bring a water bottle. That way you can stay hydrated. If you have work things to do, bring a laptop, bring power that you can do those things. You're allowed to do those things. Please refrain from wearing red. You will look like Moms Demand Action. They will flood that place with people in red. Do not support their mission. We're telling everybody, if you want to, please wear black, so we're in solidarity and we're kind of canceling out the vibe of the red in the room. You can testify remotely if you cannot make it there in person. If you want to write a written testimony, please do not. I think Ian even
it just goes into the record.
They shredded a lot of written testimony. So they don't even read it. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's a wasted time and effort. If you can't get a written testimony that is going to be in the hands of somebody in the room, like I said, remotely do it. Please be on your wits about the things that you're saying. You're going to have to, I would suggest bringing something you could take notes and write something, because it's going to be a long wait. This will go into the wee hours of the evening. We've seen it many times before where you will be there all night. So make arrangements in advance for childcare, for pet care, whatever it is that you need. Also, the things that you're probably going to want to say, you will hear somebody else say. So take notes on the things that you hear. Take notes on the comments that the legislators say and what the anti-gunners say. That way you can comment on it and make impressionable points. This is a time to use your wholehearted decision-making skills based on personal experience that you have and how this is going to affect your life, your family's life, and speak to them as a constituent, as somebody of Colorado, and use your voice in that way. Trust me, it's very, very easy to want to cuss these people out and say awful things and put them down, but that doesn't get us anywhere. You need to be intelligent, you need to be honorable, and you need to demonstrate that you represent an entire community of people that are armed. As for the rally, please do not show up with guns.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, do not show up with firearms. They will not be allowed in the Capitol building.
They
This
will
is in
arrest you.
Texas.
And Denver
And
also has an open carry ban. And
we
they
don't
will
need
arrest
people showing up with guns and getting arrested. We need you to be there testifying and being on the high road at some point. I know that that's a battle that we want to fight, but that's not the day to do it. The day
No,
to
it's
do
not.
it is another day, another time. What we have
We
to
don't
do
want to
is
look like the crazies. We want the people that are in support of this to look like the crazies, not us. Not us.
exactly. So bring your integrity, dress warm, bring a coat, bring snacks, bring food, bring water, bring extra power, bring something to take notes, bring some anti headache medicine for real, because listening to these people is going to tick you off. They're
Yep.
going to say some egregious things, and they're going to be attacking this
That's some
entire community.
ignorant things.
So be smart about it and just prepare yourself and do what you can. Also, if you are going to conceal carry, you are going to have to safely secure that firearm somewhere, possibly in your vehicle. Cars do get broken into. Vehicles get broken into all the time. Guns get stolen all the time. They've created laws last semester or last session that you will have to report that gun lost or stolen. And if it wasn't safely secured, you're going to catch a case yourself, because that's the state that we're dealing with. So
Ian,
please
can
be
you-
smart and make recommendations for safely
But-
secured firearms.
But Alicia, I thought criminals couldn't get guns.
Oh no,
They have
never.
a free zone
It's not like
sign.
they run cars through anybody's store or anything like
I know.
that. I mean,
No,
hey,
never.
let me ask Ian. Hey, what's that? Oh, Ian, can you tell the chat a little bit about the person we're trying to convince? You may know a little bit more about him, what his stances are, what his oppositions are, things of that nature. And then also maybe we can get some people that are watching this to reach out to his office in opposition of this bill and let them know, especially if you guys are veterans or active duty, to let them know, hey, we do not support this as your former brothers in arms. This is not something that is good for your constituency. It's not something that's good for your fellow Americans.
Absolutely. Well, before I get to that, I want to make
Sure.
something clear for the folks that are listening and the folks that are going to be showing up tomorrow. I know a lot of people don't like politics. Politics does kind of suck. As someone who does and works in it every single day, I'm sure Kyle can attest to that as well. But the fact of the matter is that you're dealing with people who hate you, they hate your rights, and they hate the Constitution. The only way that we can get them to kill this bill is through insurmountable pressure. So before I get into talking about Matt Ball or the situation of the committee, if you guys have not yet, go to rmgo.org/AWB and sign your petition right now. What we're going to be doing in the morning is my team and I are going to be rolling around about 100,000 signed petitions and delivering them to every single senator's office so that they can see that there's overwhelming opposition to this measure. Now, Teddy, to talk about Matt Ball, like you were asking. So a couple months ago, to give you some background, the Democrats have been doing this recently where a certain incumbent senator or representative will run for office with no intention of holding that office whatsoever. They'll resign right after the election so that they can get someone of their choosing nominated to their seat via vacancy committee. Colorado does this a lot differently than a lot of other states. Texas has special elections. Florida also does special elections when there's vacancies. In Colorado, it's a vacancy committee where it is whatever party holds that seat, a group of party leaders, probably about 30 to 50, get together, and they decide who the next senator is going to be. So Matt Ball got into his seat through a vacancy committee because former Senator Chris Hansen, resigned from his seat 2 days after being reelected to his second term to go take a job with a power company down in Durango. So Matt Ball took his seat. This seat is as central heart of Denver. We're talking Cherry Hills. We're talking about pretty much East 6th Avenue. That area is very affluent. And Matt Ball was put in there via a vacancy committee. Thank God it wasn't Stephen Woodrow who ended up in that seat. Otherwise, we'd be talking about Stephen Woodrow is the most anti-gun state representative probably in U.S. history. But Matt Ball is a former Army Ranger, but he's a Stanford-educated attorney, and he also worked for Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, who's been in the news recently for refusing to cooperate with federal immigration officials. Well, Ball, if you go onto his website, he does not have any public positions on guns. However, when he was asked point blank on it by multiple constituents earlier this week, he said that he was undecided, but then also use the far left talking point of we don't need assault weapons in our society. Assault weapons aren't good for hunting. So, I mean, what we're really looking at here is Jason Crow 2.0. I am not optimistic that Matt Ball will vote our way. Now,
I do feel like if we can get some pressure from veterans and pressure from active duty, I think that might offset his Democratic party, because obviously he's getting a lot of pressure from his own party in this sense to pass this. But he's also a veteran of the armed forces, and he's also a former Army Ranger. At least that's what he states. I really don't know his full military background, but I feel like the veterans could really do a lot here to sway this. We really
need to put the pressure on. I mean, what I'm saying here is that just because it's unlikely that Matt Ball won't vote our way, it doesn't mean that there's 100% chance that he won't. We still need to put the pressure on. We still need to call his office. We're going to be delivering petitions from his district to his office tomorrow. We're going to be trying to get a commitment on how he's going to vote on that bill.
So, Ian, I mentioned this to you earlier, and we have a backup plan if he does vote in favor of this bill. Earlier today, on behalf of the CFFLA, the Colorado Federal Firearms License Association, which I'm now the director of, or the director of strategy for strategic design going forward, strategic development, I should say. We registered the domain Recall Ball. Now, we are not using that domain yet, but if tomorrow he does vote in favor of this bill, me and every other federal firearms license dealer who is a member of this association will be funding this recall attempt against him to make sure that this man does not sit in the state legislature anymore, and that his seat is vacated. And we will make sure that happens. We will bring the full force of every FFL in the state of Colorado against him.
I think we can do that also for Senator Sullivan. Senator Sullivan needs to go.
I registered that one as well, so we're prepared. I got this. Yeah.
And, you know, it's to the point now, I do have sympathy for the man's history. For all of you out there listening, Senator Tom Sullivan's son was, he died in the Aurora movie theater shooting. He used that as his platform to become a senator, and has used his entire senatorial career to attack gun owners.
Then why was he not part of the bill to hold juveniles responsible? Why was he not part of the bills in support of the bills to increase the penalties for those who steal firearms and commit crimes with firearms? If that was the case, like I understand that, and I have sympathy for the situation that occurred. And it shouldn't happen to anybody. It shouldn't happen in this country in general. But firearms are not the problem. Crime is the problem, and right now, our legislator is extremely soft on crime, and that's where they need to put their focus.
Absolutely, and the other thing,
unless you're a gun owner, and then they're going to look at you.
To them, we're the enemy here. We're not. I mean, God, how many gun owners stopped mass shootings?
The point is this: if gun control worked, why isn't it working? We have an overabundance of gun control measures in this state, and crime is on the rise. Property crime is on the rise. Home invasions are on the rise. Buildings and properties are closing because of crime. The cost of living is skyrocketing. Denver is in shambles. And rather than focusing their time, money, and efforts and energy into protecting our people, they want to disarm the people that are becoming victims of the people that they've let into our state egregiously to ransack our properties and take over our homes and commit crimes against us, which is absolutely insane. It's insane to me. So
and we have real world examples.
I'm all for it. However I can be of assistance, I'm in, because I'm done.
I mean, you have examples. You look at what was happening in Aurora. How long did it take to clear those apartments out in Aurora, Colorado, when they were
7-8 months? And
they only did that because they were forced to, because they were put on blast by other places.
And it was denied by the governor how many times?
The governor denied that it even existed. And then I want to say last night ICE just arrested 50 of those Venezuelan gang members in Denver. Over 50 arrests and now deportations. Thank God we have someone that actually knows what they're doing in the White House again, that can actually enforce some of these laws. I mean, I won't get into details here, but a lot of you that follow the channel, a lot of you that follow our store know that we had recently a break-in, and I'm not going to go into specific details, but it did have to do, there were some immigration things that were involved in that. But yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, Teddy, I work at a gun shop here in Florida. How does that work if somebody breaks into your gun shop and tries to steal a gun? Because I know our procedure of what we do in here in Florida, but like in Colorado, are you just like supposed to sit there and let them steal the guns off your wall?
So, honestly, the use of force, the castle doctrine, we don't really have a castle doctrine in the state of Colorado. We have what's called a make my day law, or make my day law is actually what they call the law. It's a little bit less protective as a castle doctrine as it would be in most states, but it's not as far as a requirement to retreat like you see in some of the East Coast and states like New York and places of that nature. So we do have some protections on that. Like if someone comes in armed in our store, that's a really bad idea. I want to be clear on that. You're probably going to get dropped before you make about 2 or 3 feet into our store. But as far as robbery happens, usually when these robberies occur, they're after hours when people are not there. And I mean, our place is secured better than most banks, just to give you an idea. But even still, criminals are crafty and they wait for the opportune times when people are not present.
And we all know the police response time in Colorado.
It's sad. I mean, it took, like in our situation, it took a very long time for response, way longer than the average nationally. And we have one of the largest PDs in the country. And that's nothing against them. It's just that they're overwhelmed and their hands are tied behind their back in a lot of these situations on what they can and cannot do. I mean, hell, the ones that hit us, they were back on the streets within 30 days in most cases because they don't have enough juvenile beds in these situations to hold these people or to actually keep them accountable.
But
insane.
this just shows examples that people are still going to get guns illegally, and this assault weapons ban will never work. All it does is going to disarm citizens at the end of the day.
Push revenue. Let's talk about the revenue aspect. Think about conservation efforts in the state of Colorado, how much that's going to decrease because of where the taxes, the background check money, and what they soon to be instituted 6.5% excise tax in Colorado was going to go towards. Think about what's going to happen to those funds. They're going to be non-existent. And they created this big tax-funded bureaucracy that's now going to be constantly in debt because they can't fund it. And then on top of that, think about going across state lines. I mean, in Colorado, from the majority of where no matter where you are.
Now, Teddy, if you want to talk about state lines real quick.
I'm with you on that. You know better than anybody on that kind of stuff. But you can be within 2 hours in Wyoming or Utah or New Mexico or Kansas from pretty much anywhere in the state of Colorado you live. You're within 2 hours of another border of another state. And legally, you can go across the border and purchase these items and bring them back. There's nothing they can do to stop that. All they're doing is trying to shut down stores here in the state of Colorado to drive the gun industry out of Colorado. But the bad guys, they're still going to get their fix. They're still going to find a way. They're going to buy them illegally. They're going to get them from someone they shouldn't be getting them from. It's still going to happen. And those are the ones that are going to commit crimes. I don't know of any mass shooting that I can name that where the firearm was not either acquired illegally or the person was ineligible and it wasn't caught on the already existing requirements from NICS.
Children are committing these crimes. Children are not supposed to be able to buy guns.
No,
I have a different opinion on that, but
I'm one of those people that I don't think there should be an age limit to firearms usage. I really don't. But the truth is, that's one of the things that they've imposed.
I look at probably 144.73s each, 144.73s each day, and like honestly, it is so easy to just skim down there and check and know on every single one of them besides the first line.
Well, guys, I know we're running out of time here, so I just want to briefly mention a couple things, and thank you guys for coming out tonight to talk with us. First and foremost, those in Colorado Springs, 9 a.m., Chapel Hills Mall, Dick's Sporting Goods parking lot. Come up and convoy with us up to the Capitol. Please wear black. Remember, this is not a Trump rally. I am pro-Trump, but at the same time, guys, this is not about that. We do not want to push people that are 2A out of the organization based upon other politics. This is about the Second Amendment. The next thing, 11 a.m. rally, east side of the Capitol, near the Native American statues on that side of the Capitol. Come out and have your voices heard. Come out to the rally. Please please sign up to testify at the Capitol. Regardless, guys, Kyle, thank you so much for being here tonight, man. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate you coming on and your efforts for the Second Amendment. Anytime you're in Colorado, come on, hit me up, man. I'll have you out to the Spartan Ranch. We'll do some night vision hunting. We'll have a good time. Okay.
Absolutely.
Ian, thank you for what you do, man. You're amazing. You are awesome director for RMGO. You are getting things done that we need to see done. We really appreciate what Rocky Mountain Gun Owners does for the state of Colorado, and you guys are really the only organization in this fight. We would love to see other bigger organizations join in with you guys, but for some reason, they don't have Colorado on the radar. So thank you, Ian, for what you do. Alicia, God, girl, you've got some fire. Thank you for everything that you do to fight for our rights, and you just keep going and keep trucking. Please check these others out. Please help sign up for RMGO. Check out the Boomstickbabe. Please donate to her. For those of you guys that don't know this, she does this on her own expense. She's not making money from this. She's out there fighting for us every day. She's fighting for you. Check her channels out. Check her Instagram out. Support her, donate, do whatever you need to do. Yeah. Thanks, guys. That's all I got. And for Spartan Defense, guys, we will be closed tomorrow for Tuesday. We're closing down the entire store for a revenue loss. We're taking our entire staff with us, and we will be out at the Capitol supporting and fighting for your rights. Please visit us online at SpartanDefense.com. Please support our store in any way you can to help us make up for that missed day tomorrow. Guys, I hope to see you all at the Capitol. Again, thank you for everything, guys, and we'll see you there.
See you guys
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Mike.
Absolutely.
Wish I could be there. Maybe I'll come out for one of the rallies.
Hey, you're there with us in spirit, brother. We appreciate you, man.
Amen.
Talk soon,
All right,
guys.
let's do this thing.
Thank you.
Bye. And